Welcome back to the V.O.C. YouTube channel. It's week 6 of college football. Today I'm going to quick hit kind of some of the biggest things that I saw from last weekend. I'm going to talk about a theory that's going around that is crazy to me, but I'd love to see it if it were to happen. And then I'm going to give my week's picks and then talk about the biggest game of the week, which is Oklahoma, Texas. So let's jump into it.
Third down for
Little quick cap here. Look, Michigan plays somebody. You play another hot garbage team, but it will hurt you eventually when you play a good team like Penn State. I know when you schedule games, right, years in advance, you don't think they're going to be, your non-conference, those teams you have played were going to be awful. But your schedule came out for 2024 next year. Wow. They have to play Texas, Oregon conference game, Washington conference game, USC conference game. Wowzer. And Ohio State. Wowzer. Have fun with that one after the team you're going to have this year. Because even with the team this year, it was going to be that's a gauntlet anyways. I feel bad for next year's team. Jim Harbaugh, out the door. Chicago Bears coach, baby. LSU. How's Brian Kelly treating you? You're 3-2 on the year. In his second year, one of the better quarterbacks he's going to have in his tenure. I truly believe that. He's blaming a lot of the players and a lot of the transfer portal, basically. He ruined my national title picks, so thank you for that one, Brian Kelly. But bad juju, I came after you. I said at the beginning of the year, I'm picking LSU because I liked him, but then also throwing bad juju. The bad juju part, threw at the wall and it stuck. Colorado showed who the real USC is. USC was up big in that game. Colorado comes back. I believe Deion, they get the ball back. They probably win the game, but look, that's not how it happens in college football. You got to win in the 60 minutes you play. We can't talk about drives that you almost had or you didn't have, but I think we got a real taste of who USC really is. And then Georgia's at its weakest. Auburn probably should have beat them, but Georgia has a player called Brock Bowers, who's a very good football player, and somehow he can take over a game and win games. It's very fascinating to watch. Someone needs to take advantage of them being at their weakest length, which is right now with the team that they have. They play Kentucky this week. Can Kentucky be that team? I don't know. You have to stay tuned for my pick on that one. But they are like a fighter that has a cut, and you need to knock them out, or you're not. It's one of those things. Either you knock them out. If you can't hit them when they're down, you're not going to be able to get them at all. So this is interesting moving forward with Georgia, what happens the rest of the way in the SEC. All right, now, so this is a theory I wasn't even going to talk about. I wasn't going to bring up. It's something that it's crazy to me to think about that this is even a thing happening and that this is even a story. But Urban Meyer to Michigan State, I can't even say it without laughing, but Urban Meyer to Michigan State has gained some traction. Now, there's one guy who came out and said Urban Meyer met with Michigan State, and then everybody was like, what? I don't believe him, blah, 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 blah. And then another guy's come out, and then there's people tracking flights. Tracking flights are crazy to me. Like, it just gets nuts. Supposedly Urban's been in East Lansing to talk to Michigan State. I don't know if it's been, I don't think this is, I can't, like I said, I can't even get through this without laughing. This is crazy. And this is where college football in the NFL, like just sports in general, have these moments where you're just like, what the hell is going on? And we don't understand what is going on. This is one of those, I don't get it. I get it from Urban's standpoint of like, okay, I can come into this program that is at its worst. Their coach just got fired. I can come in, help build it. I can do that, but you're Michigan State. It's like it's Urban Meyer. I have no problem with it. I like Urban. I think he is the Jesus Christ of coaching football. I said Notre Dame should have hired him 2 years ago. Like there's no bigger fan of Urban Meyer than this guy right here. There just isn't. I think toe-to-toe at his best, he's the best coach college football's ever seen. He gets the most out of nothing. He turns trash into gold. That is what he does. He's a very good coach. He understands it. Do I think if he came back and coached now, I think it's going to be a little bit harder for him to relate with the players. X's and O's wise, getting players ready, I think he's good. I think recruiting, he would maybe struggle a little bit more. Just his perception since the Jaguars experiment has been rough. And I don't know if players would fully relate to him. But if he got players, watch out. Look, now I'm an alumni of Michigan State, right? When it comes down to it, I do care about the program. It's not my first college football love. It shouldn't be a shocker. My first college football love is Notre Dame, but I do love Michigan State. I love Michigan State football. Going to school up there, being around, I take pride in that, okay? The school took a lot of money from me, so I can take pride in that, and I can root for whoever the hell I want to. I got a diploma from that place, so I'll root for them. So I respect Michigan State if any of this shit's true. I don't know if it's true, right? It's like you get a wacky report that comes in, and you're like, what, so only time will tell here. But look, I give him credit for going after the biggest fish on the market. Urban's the biggest fish on the market, on the open market at least. If you look at it, I don't get why Urban would come to Michigan State. I don't get why he would try another experiment from a standpoint of a school like Michigan State. Urban, to me, is one of those guys that Michigan State's a tier 2 compared to a tier 1. So if he were to get a job, I would think tier 1. I thought maybe if Jimbo struggles at Texas A&M, does Urban go to Texas A&M? So I don't get it from a perspective of that if I'm Urban from a school that can, it's not a football factory there, say. We've had good football teams historically the last couple 25 years or so, but it's not a powerhouse when you think of football. It's a tier 2. Yes, it's in the Big Ten. With the expansion, that adds value. With the expanded playoff, it adds value. But I just don't understand it fully. But look, if he's serious about coming to coach there, Michigan State's serious about giving him a job, let's hire him, right? It's a no-brainer. If he wants to go and they want to hire him, let's get this done because we're going to win a lot of football games, right? I'm not saying they're going to win a national title, but Urban's track record is winning national titles. At 2 big schools he were at, Power 5's jobs that he had, he won national titles there. He beats the shit out of Michigan, so I'd be happy with that. But I don't think this stuff is fully true. I think this is a lot of wishful reporting, and it's weird. But if it happened, I'd be happy. I would be over the moon. I'd be excited. I'd be the first one in the bar with Urban in East Lansing hanging out. I mean, it's wacky. It's crazy. But at the end of the day, I don't think it's fully true. And the fact that we're tracking flights is ridiculous. Urban's not going to coach at Michigan State. I respect the Michigan State fans and the other alumni that are all into this thing. But it's wacky. It's not going to happen. Move on and think about hiring a guy like Mike Elko at Duke, who's a very good football coach. And let's be more realistic about this. And Urban's already come out and said through Bruce Feldman he's not taking the job, which he said that about the Jaguars. Any coach says that, right? But look, it's not happening. I just wanted to bring it up because I just think it's wacky. But if it happened, it'd be crazy. But it's at the end of the day, it's not going to happen. But it's crazy to think about. I don't even know how this would even be brought up. Michigan State's trying to make a big swing after Mel Tucker. I respect the hell out of that. But if you're Urban, I wouldn't coach there. I just wouldn't. What do you have nothing to lose anymore. It's like, well, no, you have everything to lose, but you're good at what you do right now. Stay in TV. If you're going to go to a program, go to a much easier program to win at. And not one that's going through. A guy like Urban Meyer doesn't need to go to a program like Michigan State. It's just disaster from a PR perspective. Yeah, you're going to win a lot of football games, which I'd be happy about. But it would be hectic. It would take away from football a little bit. But I just wanted to talk about it, to bring it up, because I keep seeing this every day of something new, and I'm like, let's calm down. Urban's not coaching at Michigan State. and let's just move on to a guy like Mike Elko. All right, picks this week. Pretty solid games as we get into college football with conference play. Let's start with Syracuse 4-1 at number 14 North Carolina. North Carolina is 4-0. North Carolina is also a 9.5-point favorite. Syracuse started out hot last year, and then they faded. I think they're going to do the same this year. I think they get rolled by North Carolina this week, and North Carolina covers. All right. Maryland 5-0 at number 4 Ohio State 4-0. Ohio State's a 19.5-point favorite. I don't get this line at all. Ohio State's last game was against Notre Dame. They escaped on the last play. They've had a bye week. They sit around. They feel good about themselves. Last time we saw Ryan Day, he was screaming at an 86-year-old man. I don't get the line from the perspective that Maryland can score, and they're going to score. Maryland almost beat them last year at Maryland. This game is interesting. I think Ohio State wins, but I think Maryland covers. Number 23, LSU is 3-2, minus 5.5-point favorite at number 21, Mizzou, who is 5-0. Mizzou has already screwed me once this year when I picked Kansas State to beat them, and then the guy kicks a 1,000,000-yard field goal, it felt like. It was actually a 61-yarder. I'm going with LSU based off of talent, but I wouldn't mind if Mizzou screws me this week because I don't really care for Brian Kelly, and to watch him struggle down there makes me laugh. Number 13, Washington State, 4-0 at UCLA. UCLA's 3-1. UCLA's minus 3.5-point favorite. This is a line that I feel like Vegas is trying to fool us in saying, is UCLA better than Washington State? You look at it, you would say no. I think Washington State's a pretty damn good football team. I'm going to pick Washington State, but I think this is one of those lines that's tricky. But I'm going to go with Washington State. I'm just going to stick to it. Number 11, Alabama, who's 4-1, minus 2.5-point favorite at Texas A&M, who's 4-1. I think these lines are pretty interesting. Like I said, Ohio State line is massive to me. The Washington State UCLA game is, I think that should probably be a flipped. I think it should be flipped. The Alabama, 2.5 is very, very interesting. Now, Jimbo's played very well against Alabama in the last couple, or coached against Alabama. Jimbo doesn't play. If Jimbo played, they'd be even worse than they were last year. But he's coached against them pretty well. Beat him a couple years ago. This is interesting. I'm going to go with Alabama, and I think they cover. But I think it's close, and then they pull away at the end of the game. All right, number 20, Kentucky, who's 5-0 at number 1, Georgia, 5-0, minus 14.5-point favorite, Georgia is. This is one of those games that's either going to be close to the wire or Georgia's just going to come out and just beat the bricks off of them start to finish. I think it's close. I think Georgia pulls away. I think Georgia pulls away in this game earlier than what they did last week against Auburn. Not taking anything away from Kentucky, but Georgia at home, Georgia at Kentucky, maybe a little different, but I don't think Georgia loses a regular season game this year, especially as they throw to Brock Bowers. Covering, don't fully know about it, but I think they win, but I think it's close, maybe a 3-point game, and I think they pull away towards the mid to end of the fourth quarter. All right. The game of the week. This is the biggest game of the week. This game determines a lot. This game determines pretty much one conference and how the conference championship is going to be played, because we could see these two teams again, or if one team loses, they start to maybe spiral a little bit. Number 12, Oklahoma, who's 5-0, minus number 3, Texas, who is 5-0. Texas is a 5.5-point favorite. Oklahoma, this is kind of what you're seeing with the power of Texas, is Oklahoma's had a very good year. Dylan Gabriel's had a very quality year playing quarterback for them. But when you have Texas, who has played very well this year, has looked like at times the best team in the country, they go in and they beat Alabama. They're going to overpower Oklahoma. Nobody's talking about Oklahoma. Oklahoma is a quiet, lurking team, high-powered offense. Brent Venables as their coach struggled in his first year, slowly starting to figure it out. And then you got Texas, who I really like. I think they are the best team in the country. They've played better than what they have in years past. Sark, is slowly figured it out there. They have quality quarterback, great skill position players. Defense is very good. Their offensive, they are just a complete team, in my opinion. When I look at every team in college football, Texas is complete. This game will show a lot about Texas. Texas blew the doors off of them last year. I think Oklahoma plays tough, but at the end of the day, I just think Texas is too good, and I think they beat Oklahoma. I think it is close. Probably comes down to a field goal, but I think Texas squeaks it out, and they win the game. All right, that's going to do it for this week's video. Look, quick cap. A lot going on, but there's vulnerabilities in every team. And that's going to be interesting to see as the season goes on. This week will show a lot because you have two teams in the top three who are playing quality opponents. You have one who they're in la-la land playing whoever the hell they want. North Texas, Southern State, Hickory Valley, University Tech. That's who Michigan plays. And then you got Texas who's playing Oklahoma and Georgia who's playing Kentucky. So the whole landscape of college football could really shift this weekend. Urban Meyer's not going to Michigan State. Let's calm down on that. Stop tracking flights. Just stop. You don't work for the TSA. Stop tracking flights. And then my picks this week. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching.